Good evening and welcome to Joy News Prime. I come to you live from our studios here at Kokumlemle. We're live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125 and around the world on myjoyonline.com. My name is Faustina. So for tonight, a combination of bad weather, downdraft and loss of altitude caused the fatal crash of the Z9 Air Force helicopter on August 6, 2025, claiming 8 lives. We'll bring you details of the findings of the committee set up to investigate the tragic incident. Also tonight, government lays first lithium mining lease before Parliament amid rising anxiety in Ewoyaa over prolonged delay in ratification and freeze on the project. Also tonight, VAT tweaks, COVID levy lapses, and a peek into Ghana's financial crystal ball. We'll bring you what to expect in the 2026 budget to be presented on Thursday, 13, 2025, here on Joy News Prime. Thanks for choosing us. Tonight, the investigative committee that looked into the August 6, 2025 military helicopter crash says the tragedy was caused by a sudden loss of altitude and lift after strong downward air currents known as downdrafts pushed the aircraft down. Speaking at a public briefing on the crash, which claimed 8 lives, including the Defense Minister, Dr. Ewoyaa and the Environment Minister, Dr. Murtala Mohammed, committee member and retired pilot Captain Paul Fojo said other contributing factors included bad weather, poor visibility, rising terrain, and the lack of grounded-based navigational aids.
8 lives were lost, including 2 government ministers, when a military helicopter went down on August 6. An investigation now reveals the deadly combination of factors that caused the crash. Speaking on behalf of the investigative committee, member Captain Paul Fojo said that the helicopter went down due to a sudden drop in altitude and lift, with challenging weather conditions, limited visibility and rising terrain contributing to the crash.
At 9:56, the crew entered IMC, which is Instrument Meteorological Conditions. To the layman, it is they flew into clouds, because they no longer could stay away from the clouds. So they flew into clouds and transitioned to IFR. Now, IFR is Instrument Flight Rules. So what it means is they now transitioned from navigating using visual cues to now navigation solely on the aircraft's instruments. The crew then initiated a climb to cross terrain that they were aware of. They initiated the climb to cross the terrain. Seconds before impact, the crew stated that they could see the high ground below, so they had gone over it. Suddenly thereafter, the helicopter that was flying up without any change in its power or in the pitch, which we use to go up and down, suddenly lost height and impacted a ridgeline at about 1,370 feet above sea level. And this was about 6.5 miles from the destination, and this happened at 9:58.
According to him, despite being airworthy, the aircraft was missing several advanced safety features that could have helped the pilots better navigate the environment.
The helicopter was airworthy, but it lacked additional safety enhancements. For instance, the terrain awareness warning system. Now, you know, the terrain awareness warning system, for instance, is predictive. So what it does is it tells you, warns you, it gives you a better picture of the situation and puts the pilots in a better, it gives them, puts them in a position to make better judgments, to be able to see everything and be able to foretell if there are any things that could possibly create a problem. But they lack the additional safety enhancements required for the weather phenomenon over that terrain.
The committee is recommending a modernization of the Ghana Air Force fleet, urging the acquisition of aircraft equipped with advanced navigation and safety systems.
The investigation determined that the accident was caused by the sudden loss of altitude and lift due to downdraft. This loss of altitude without change in power or pitch altitude is consistent with downdraft associated with changing environmental conditions over high terrain. Our safety recommendations. There is a definite need to modernize the fleet of the Ghana Air Force. We have recommended that the Air Force acquire modern aircraft with terrain avoidance warning systems and modern navigation systems. That the aircraft should have cockpit voice recorders and flight data recorders, which are the audiovisual capable types.
Away from that, government has finally laid Ghana's first lithium mining lease before Parliament amid rising anxiety in Ewoyaa over prolonged delay in ratification and a freeze on the project. We'll tell you what transpired in Parliament shortly. First, here's a report by my colleague Emmanuel Jivenu highlighting the plight of individuals in that community.
It was all joy in the central region when lithium was discovered within Infantiman municipality and the Abra Asebu Kwamankesi district. To the people and chiefs, this was the beginning of jobs, progress and transformation.
This thing is going to benefit us and is going to provide us a lot of jobs.
But 2 years on, that joy has turned into deep frustration. The delay in ratifying Ghana's first lithium mining project has frozen all activities in Ewoyaa. No building, no farming, no development, just waiting. Under this tree in Ewoyaa, young men gather daily. It is their usual sport, once for laughter and plans, now for venting their frustration. All they can talk about is the moratorium and how it has frozen their plans. Among them is Richard Mensah, a father of 4, and Kwabena, a farmer. Both men are struggling to understand how a promise of development has left them with nothing. Richard leads us through overgrown weeds to what was meant to be his family home. Now, just a pile of weakening cement blocks.
Abrantaba mesi so mpase mesi dan na me wo amede me magum say ma wo for lithium for na esizi me say ma bra bontumi nkoso bio enam lithium for nti ebisu na egu hai mpase anka mesi dan na me yi me nkwala me de omugum me gu asese ye me ntumi ne omo nda enam me maso nda me nchen nti me gu so anka me biem say anka me timi ma me mba no omo ina adem and say o mesi me blocks ne so say
they issue a moratorium on the land. From that day, you can't farm, you can't build, you can't undertake any economic activity. So the mine takes stock of every property from the date of the moratorium.
Not far from Richard's land lives Kwabena, a farmer and a hunter. His story mirrors Richard's.
And now must stop with him to me for Nicase. I'm a busham, I'm land say, Mundona Mundia Abeoso. But my status and me do for Nana lithium for no Ebeka say, Yenja Ejumana Yen. They say, of course, Ejumana, I'm mind no Bayeno, Ebahayeno, just because I'm a tree for her. At the right now, or say a mom, because I'm Basha say no, only Benya nice conversation.
During this delay, a moratorium was imposed, freezing all building and farming within the mining concession. It has left residents like Richard and Kwabena stranded, compensations unpaid, and resettlement plans stalled.
But no company will invest into such a venture when the government itself is not helping by way of what? Giving ratification to it. So when I told them, they understood it. And they saw that it is not the fault of the company.
At the time the lease was signed, the global price for lithium was about $3,000 per ton. Today, it has fallen sharply to around $850 per ton, raising concerns about the project's economic viability.
Just a while ago, the Lands Minister Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa officially presented that deal to the House.
Madam Speaker, as you know, the lease was presented indeed in the 8th Parliament for ratification pursuant to Article 268(1) of the 1992 Constitution and Section 5(4) of Act 703. But it was not ratified before the House adjourned. Since then, the basis in which the agreement, especially the price of lithium, at the time of the negotiation was about $3,000. Price of lithium had fallen, current price to about $630, making the project really at risk in going forward. The company appealed that if they were to go forward, certain key provisions must be looked at. Indeed, it was very clear and public knowledge that lithium prices had fallen. We took advantage of, at the time, the high lithium prices of $3,000 to, for example, move beyond the normal royalty of 5% and move it to 10% and other provisions. Based on their request, 3 key areas has been looked at: the royalty rate adjustment, VAT deferral on capital inputs, and SOP-on transshipment facility feasibility. These 3 areas were new areas that has been factored, and that called for us to look at the new lease. The new lease has been negotiated, sent to Cabinet for approval, and we are here in Parliament to get ratification in accordance with Article 268 of the 1992 Constitution. I thank you.
I accordingly refer the mining lease agreement, which is referred to as new, to the Committee on Lands and Forestry for consideration and report to the House.
While the minority, however, raised objection to the laying, listen to MP for Damango and former Lands Minister Samo Abujinapo.
And therefore, I was going to pray and apply to you that the combined effect of Order 97, 1 to 6, the combined effect of Order 97, 1 to 6, Mr. Speaker, respectfully, I was going to pray that this laying be overruled and this laying be rejected, because, Mr. Speaker, I have the various components the minister has submitted to this House as being the fundamental terms of the agreement between the same 2 parties, Mr. Speaker, fundamentally not different. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, what applied to that agreement in the 8th Parliament, which fortunately was the same Speaker in the chair, and which culminated in the rejection of the attempt to lay that agreement, Mr. Speaker, same should apply. Mr. Speaker, I conclude by just asking a simple question, and I want to believe that we will get into this matter in a much more detail. Mr. Speaker, the fundamental question which the average Ghanaian will ask, Mr. Speaker, is that what has changed? What has changed? What has changed? What has changed? What has changed between the agreement between the government of Ghana and Barari DV extend the terms of the agreement between the government of Ghana and Parliamentary DV in 2025. Mr. Speaker, I conclude. Mr. Speaker, I conclude, Mr. Speaker. I conclude by submitting, Mr. Speaker. I conclude by submitting that the position you took in the 8th Parliament was for the good of Ghana. Lithium is a rare resource. Lithium is the mineral of the future, as the experts say. Lithium, indeed, Mr. Speaker, is the foundation of the current effort of green transition. Lithium, Mr. Speaker, is the bedrock that the world is attempting to use to fight climate change. And so when the Speaker insisted that Ghana should get the full benefit of the exploitation of our mineral resources, one could not disagree with you. But the question today is that 2025, Mr. Speaker, what has changed? What has changed?
Away from Parliament, the upcoming 2026 budget is expected to be heavy on VAT ratification, rationalization, which could pave way for the removal of the COVID-19 levy, which President Mahama promised to scrap. While Joy News sources say the new VAT structure will no longer be a cost to businesses, with a flat rate system expected to be abolished. Joy News Research Desk has details of the new VAT. But first, let's hear from the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasia Latufos, when he promised these reforms in the 2025 budget.
Speaker, I now take you to VAT reforms, VAT reforms. Right Honourable Speaker, we commit to the people of Ghana and this House, the business community, that we will undertake a comprehensive value-added tax reform this year. So, Speaker, with the aim to review the current distortions and cascading structure of the value-added tax regime. Ghana's effective rate, VAT rate is about 22%. This is obviously because the 2.5% get fund levy, the national health insurance levy of 2.5%, and the COVID levy are well added to the base for a final determination of what is due for VAT purposes. So, Speaker, aside a high VAT rate, businesses are not permitted by law to claim their input VAT for NHIL, Get Fund, and COVID levy, compounding the burden on households. Right Honourable Speaker, our VAT regime has been distorted and rendered inefficient. It combines both VAT and sales tax principles with a flat rate, standard rate, and levies.
Caleb Ziblim of our research desk joins me in the studio. Caleb, what exactly have we been finding out?
So the budget that are going to be presented on Thursday, we hear that there are some significant tax changes that we should expect. So our sources from the ministry and the GRA tell us that the COVID-19 levy will be scrapped. And we know we heard about this before the election, and then in the first budget from the finance minister, he just mentioned that the COVID-19 levy will be scrapped. And we have indication that, yes, it's going to be scrapped. Also, the NHIL and guest fund levies have been decoupled. So what the finance minister was explaining that when you're computing your VAT, you compute the VAT on the addition of COVID levy, NHIL, and guest fund on the base of the before VAT is now added onto that. But then once they do this, they're going to reduce the effective VAT rate from about 21.9% down to 20%. So there's some savings for the consumer. Also, the flat VAT rate has been cancelled, and then zero VAT now for mining explorations. So mining companies that want to explore will not have to pay VAT anymore. And from the finance ministry's point of view, they say that they are doing this to make sure that our VAT system is now very streamlined, very easy to comply with. And then, because once you start talking about reducing the tax handles in the VAT and then, abolishing the flat VAT rate and all of that, questions will arise about how is it going to affect the government revenue. Is it going to reduce government revenue? Is it going to increase government revenue? And so from the projections, this in effect should reduce government revenue because you are scrapping COVID-19 levy. That's a significant tax handle. And this year we are projected to have about $3.9 billion cedis from the COVID-19 levy alone. So once you scrap that, there's going to be a 3.9 billion cedi hole in your budget. And you need to account for that. But then the finance ministry and GRA, they are banging their hopes on increased compliance. So once you have more companies complying with this new VAT regime, and according to the GRA as well, they say that this new VAT regime is so easy to understand. The language and the text is easier to decipher, and there's no ambiguity anywhere. So it's going to be easier for businesses to pay their taxes and for consumers to also pay the VAT as well. So the authorities say that this is supposed to increase compliance. And once it increases compliance, government revenue should not take a hit. But then we know that in the first 7 months of this year, the government got 1.54 billion cedis from the COVID-19 levy, which is not small. So once you're scrapping this handle, you should know that the government needs to ensure compliance in the other areas to ensure that the smooth sailing of the administration.
Thank you so much, Caleb. Now, away from that, 3 days before Ghana went to the polls in December 2024, the Ghana Airports Company quietly signed a multi-million cedi contract with a company that had only one employee. The deal awarded to Evertex Logistics, a mining firm with no experience in auditing or revenue assurance, was allegedly backdated after the ruling party lost the election. Documents and official records show that Evertex is linked to SML. The same company paid over $140 million in questionable government contracts. Investigations by the Fort Estate uncovers how names were swapped, rules were ignored, and institutions looked the other way. Here are excerpts of the documentary titled SML Disguised at Kotoka.
3 days to the 2024 election, however, a shady revenue assurance and auditing contract similar to that of the SML scandal was cooked at the Ghana Airports Company Limited, GACL. This contract, which appeared to be backdated, was awarded to Evertex Logistics Limited, a mining and stevedoring company with no record of having ever performed the services. Our investigation revealed that this company is linked to SML. An email address on the website of Evertex, evertel@ghana.com, is the same email address on the website of Evans Timbers Limited, the parent company of SML. A search at the office of the Registrar of Companies also revealed that the beneficial owner of SML, Evans Eduse, is also the beneficial owner of Evertex Logistics, the mining company awarded the auditing contract at the airport. In fact, Evans Eduse is both the CEO of SML and the CEO of Evertex. The list of workers submitted by Evertex to the Ghana Airports Company to execute the Evertex contract contains the names of notable SML employees and managers. The SML head of engineering, Hamdan Abubakar, is named in the Evertex list. SML's head of IT, Prince Sapon, is also on the list to perform the Evertex contract. A former head of legal at the GRA, Philip Jude Mensah, now an SML employee, witnessed the Evertex contract with the Ghana Airports Company. He is on the Evertex list, together with a former commissioner of customs and now general manager of SML, Isaac Krensel. SML, which now appears like a post-retirement destination for top GRA employees, sneaked to the airport disguised as Evertex.
Under our labor laws, an employee cannot be and take salaries from two companies.
You are better off going with a company that is mature, that is old, that you assume has capacity. But they couldn't because of the controversies around SML and how exposed the company was in the public eye. It clearly tells you that they themselves admit that they've been doing things wrong and they don't have even the confidence to go working or bidding with the same company. If they were really genuinely convinced that the work that they are doing is generating returns, I don't see why you would want to rather metamorphose into another company to go bid for another government project.
Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited has filed a lawsuit against the Office of the Special Prosecutor, demanding return of seized equipment and more than $28 million in damages for what it describes as an unlawful raid on its offices. In a statement of claim filed at the High Court in Accra, SML says that on June 10, 2025, officers from the OSP, acting under a purported warrant, conducted what it calls heavily militarized and intrusive search at its premises. allegedly seizing several items, including servers, laptops, storage devices, and specialized mineral analysis equipment. The following report has more.
SML claims the raid led to a nationwide collapse of a secure data communication network linking 25 petroleum depots, effectively shutting down real-time data transmission. According to the company, the seized servers contain unique software and firmware used to monitor and authenticate transactions in Ghana's petroleum and mining sectors. It argues that the abrupt removal of the systems invalidated security protocols and rendered the infrastructure inoperable. SML further alleges that the OSP's actions breach standard forensic and evidence handling procedures, insisting that investigators should conduct forensic imaging instead of uprooting physical hardware which disrupted business continuity. The company also accuses the OSP of disabling a CCTV system during the operation to prevent video documentation of the raid. SML is asking the High Court to declare the OSP's detention of its property unlawful and to order the immediate return of all seized equipment. The company is also seeking compensation and legal costs amounting to more than $28 million. Meanwhile, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has not yet filed a response to the claim.
You're still watching Joy News Prime. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this quick turn. Thanks for staying with us. Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin has offered an unqualified apology to the judiciary over the chaos that unfolded during the vetting of the Chief Justice nominee, Justice Paul Bafo-Boni, on Monday. This is not the first time the vetting of a nominee turned chaotic in Parliament. A few months ago, the vetting of the Health Minister, Kwabena Minta Kando, and Foreign Affairs Minister, Okudzeto Ablakwa, turned into an altercation between the two sides. Similarly, the Majority Leader, Mahama Ayariga's consistent objections into the opening remark by the minority led to a clash between both sides. The following report by James Aveji has more.
Following that spectacle that unfolded at the vetting of Chief Justice nominee Paul Bafo-Boni at the vetting committee on Monday, Speaker of the House Alban Bagbin, in his formal statement on Tuesday, took time to first apologize to the judiciary over the incident.
This morning, my attention was drawn to a few things. And I've come to deliver an apology on behalf of the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana to their lordships and ladyship, the members of the judiciary who were present during the proceedings of the Appointments Committee held for the vetting of the nominee for the office of Chief Justice.
He also indicated that he has directed leadership of the Appointment Committee to make sure the incident do not occur never again, as he warns he would be left with no choice than to crack the whip the next time such incidents come before him.
Consequently, I have directed the leadership of the Appointments Committee to take note of this incident and to ensure that in all future proceedings, the highest standards of civility, objectivity, and institutional respect are maintained. I want to assure all of you that I'll come back on this issue of decency, discipline, and decorum. And this time, I'm coming with the hammer, not the gavel.
In a separate proceeding on the floor, the Majority Leader, Mahama Ayariga, has cited the Minority Leader, Alexander Apenyo, marking of contempt of Parliament. He said the Minority Leader, despite the House's decision to eliminate him from Ghana's Parliament delegation to the ECOWAS Parliament, defiled this directive and went to the sitting in Abuja, compelling the ECOWAS Parliament to threaten not to swear in Ghana's delegation, which he said took his intervention to get Ghana's 4-member delegation to be sworn in. He said this act is against the orders of the House and called on the Speaker to refer the minority leader to the Privileges Committee for action.
And it is time that the Honorable Afenyo-Markin be put in his proper place. Mr. Speaker, I therefore rise pursuant to the relevant orders to make a complaint of contempt of Parliament and a breach of parliamentary privilege, and to urge you, pursuant to the appropriate orders, to refer the Honorable Afenyo-Markin Alexander Kwamina to the Privileges Committee for him to be processed. And if indeed the committee comes to a conclusion that my contention that he indeed went and attended the session in clear defiance of our resolution, and that that act constitutes an affront to the authority of this House, that the appropriate sanctions be executed in relation to the Honorable Alexander Kwamina Afenyo-Markin.
The Speaker, in his statement, indicated that he will make a final ruling on the matter when Parliament convenes on Wednesday. We look forward to what final decision the Speaker will take on this as to whether Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin will be referred to the Privileges Committee and will be cited for contempt and punished accordingly or otherwise. From Parliament House here in Accra, I am James Savaji for Joy News.
Away from Parliament, as part of iTech initiative implemented by UNIDO in both the Ashanti and northern regions of Ghana, the FDA has received 2 new processors with their required accessories. The following report has more.
We received a protein processor and a proximate processor from the United Nations Industrial Development Organization. The machines are said to help with the analysis of locally produced grains as a way to enhance quality of grains harvested from different parts of the country. Director of Industrial Support Service Kofi Esel says these machines will be of great help in detecting heavy metals among other impurities that may be present in the produce as a result of illegal mining.
And so this is not only going to be used in the area of assessing the quality of prepackaged foods, but we even go into our local market, sample rice from the local markets. Okay, not the ones that are sold in packages in ShopRite and all that, but those who are even using Lunka, as we call it, to sell the rice. We can sample from these as well, so that whether they come through us or it is right at the farm gate, we will be able to tell the quality of this rice that consumers are eating. And then so we identify the challenge with stones in our locally produced rice. So what do we do to get our stones? We need a stoner. Okay, you have metal analyzers and metal detectors and what have you on the line. So we'll advise that, okay, those who have the processing lines need to be provided with metal detectors so that if the rice is coming with any metals, they can be taken out of the product and all that. So what have you. Yes, I appreciate the challenge that, the GANAMC presents to us, because if these water bodies that are going to be used in irrigating our rice farms are polluted, what happens? It means that these heavy metals will eventually get into the soil and the rice will take them up into the product.
Capacity Building Coordinator of UNIDO, David Cow, spoke about sustainability being key in all the projects carried out by UNIDO, and that training in local areas have been undertaken to ensure that grains are of high quality before they reach the market.
Okay, so this project, and in fact, UNIDO, one of our key core principles is sustainability. The project has also done what we call trainer of trainees. So most of the trainings that we did was to give specialized training to members of the institutions along the value chain. And it is the ones that have been given that specialized in training will do what we call cascade training. They will go and train other colleagues and members. So you see that it's a cascading effect or rippler effect. So already the project has put in place mechanism to ensure that all that we do will be sustainable. In connection with the equipment, we make sure that all the equipment that we donate, one, the manufacturers of the equipment themselves, they will come down and do the necessary training to make sure that the users use it well to be able to prolong the lifespan of the equipment.
Emmanuel Koji and Geoffrey Azure's report read to you.
For nearly 2 years, residents of Baatsona East and Central have endured a worsening water crisis that they say is taking a toll on their health and finances. Some say they are forced to rely on rainwater or pay exorbitant prices to private water tankers. Now weary and frustrated, residents say their patience has run out. Noella Kariale has more in the following report.
I am here at Baatsona Eastern Central on the Spintex Road, specifically the district pay point of the Ghana Water Limited. And the desperation for water in the area runs deep. Residents say they've forgotten what it feels like or looks like to turn on the taps and see water flow. And for almost 2 years, they've had to rely on rainwater harvesting and water tankers who charge exorbitant prices, twice or even 3 times the usual rate, just to fill a few drums of water.
At the Daniel Classic School Complex International here in Baatsona, Mr. and Mrs. Ahaji say keeping the school running has become a daily struggle. With no water flowing through the taps, they now depend largely on rainwater to keep the classrooms and washrooms clean.
But right from last year, and this year is the worst, because I would say this year is worse because even the water we'll be buying, maybe 700 is now 1,000. The 400 is 600 now. You see, so this year is the worst time. And it will take you, when you have to order ahead of time, maybe 2 days before you can get it. Like, you see that this time I'm empty. I only hope is this. And if I don't give the order now, Monday will be in trouble.
The chairman of the Residents Association, Mr. Thomas, says the water shortage has gone beyond inconvenience. It's now a public health and financial crisis.
To fill the tank, these tanks, I have to buy 800 cedis a week. 800 cedis a week. But the normal bill that I pay is 100 cedis because I use just about 5,000-6,000 gallons. So it is about 3,000 cedis a month for 1 year. As at now that we speak, look, the tanks are empty. They are all empty. Look at that. There's no water in them. Skin rashes have gone on the rise. The diarrhea, diseases, and so on and so forth. Vomiting. There's a school right here. We'll go there and you talk to them. And it's become such a major issue because health is wealth.
From Baatsona Eastern Central, here on the Spintex Road, I'm Noella Kariale, and this is Joy News.
You're still watching Joy News from. We're back with Showbiz. Please stay with us. Well, it's time for Showbiz, and Irene is in the studio. Hi, Irene.
Hi, Fosti. I like the pony.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
it's
complimenting the earrings, the outfit.
Let me just arrange my laptop, please. Thank you.
You look like a pro.
Oh my God. Okay, please.
Yeah. So I'm here to update you on happenings on Showbiz, and I'm taking you straight to the gospel world because 2 gospel musicians have spoken. So we are first going to talk about urban gospel artist Scott Evans, who has opened up that he would rather sell plantain than switch to secular music. So if he's given a chance that, oh, okay, today he wants to go into secular music, he's not going to do it. He would rather go on the street and sell plantain. Evans Scott has spoken.
pressure on me because I'm just serving a king and I'm relaying his message to the people. My focus is to make sure the song gets to people who need his word. If it gets to one person, there's a party in heaven. I'm okay. I'm not perturbed. I'm not pressured. I'm not enthused. I'm not fighting things. No. If I get a chance to be a secular artist, I'll be a plantain seller. I'll be selling plantain on the street rather than become a secular artist.
You rather sell plantain?
Yeah.
Than to be a
secular artist, yeah. There's nothing attractive in it for me.
Right, so we've heard from Scott Evans, but what do you think about this?
Well, it's all about his conviction, really. If he feels his fate is leading him towards that, go ahead, do you?
But another gospel musician has spoken. Yes, Cece Chum has spoken. According to her, she is saying that she has no problem with secular music. So if you're a secular artist and then you give her a script to sing, once the script is good, why not? She would sing gladly.
Of course, because that secular musician might be a songwriter, a good writer. The fact that he doesn't sing gospel doesn't make him evil.
Right.
It's a gift. So maybe he's written a nice gospel song and he thinks, oh, Sisi can sing this song, and then, he gives it to me. I'll pray about it, and then why not do it?
That's nice. I like that.
Okay.
All right, so two different opinions. One is shying away from it. One says, no, they are not evil.
I respect their opinion.
But we have a last story coming up where I take you straight to Black Sheriff's camp, because he has shared that he actually filed 2 nominations for this year's Grammy, Best African Music Performance and Global Music Performance. But guess what? He wasn't nominated for any of the category. But Blacko says he isn't bothered.
I heard that you filed for the nomination.
We did.
African. You did?
Yeah, we did.
Which category? African music performance?
Yeah, and global.
And global. Okay.
We did.
Blacko!
So you were highly expecting to see yours
highly
nominated?
I'll go be happy if they nominate me. But like I'm saying, I'm not like... It don't even shift me as they don't nominate me.
Okay.
Do you understand me? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not pushed, I'm not touched.
Last week.
Well, I've always maintained that we need to, as Africa, grow beyond Grammys.
So we should have our own
We should have our own award that celebrates us as individuals, as creatives. That's the way forward, really.
Hear me.
Well, we need more awards. More award scheme, you agree?
Thanks, Fosti.
Yes, please.
Okay, that will be all for today on Showbiz.
Thank you so much, Irene. It was a pleasure having you in the studio. And that's how we wrap up Joy News Prime. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Faustina Safo. Have a pleasant day as you enjoy the rest of our program.